We are officially at red alert. Stop looking at the 5-minute charts. Stop looking at the RSI. Stop looking at the noise. What is happening today, January 6th, 2026, is not a market correction. It is not a healthy pullback. It is not a trading opportunity. It is a war. And today we have received the first official confirmation that the western front of this war is collapsing. For years, we have been the resistance. We have been the ones shouting into the void, telling the world that the price of silver was a lie, that the vaults were empty, and that the banks were naked short. They laughed at us. They called us conspiracy theorists. They told us that silver was a pet rock and that we should just buy tech stocks and be quiet. But today, the laughter stopped. Today, the enemy didn't just blink, they surrendered. The Death Star capitulates. We need to talk about Bank of America. We are not talking about a small regional bank or some random YouTube blogger. We are talking about one of the largest, most powerful, and historically most bearish financial institutions on the planet. This is the bank that has consistently shorted precious metals for a decade. This is the Death Star of the market. And this morning, the Death Star lowered its shields and admitted defeat. Bank of America has officially capitulated. Let's look at the numbers they just put in black and white. For years, they told you gold was overvalued at $2,000. Now, their official target for the average price of gold is $4,538 per ounce. That level implies the complete destruction of the fiat currency system. But that's just the smoke. The real fire is in what they admitted about silver. This is the kicker. This is the smoking gun that proves the squeeze is inevitable. The 4.4 billion ounce lie. Let's talk about the glass jaw of the Western banking cartel. There is a specific number that is keeping the risk managers at Citi and JP Morgan awake at night, sweating through their sheets. That number is 4.4 billion. The combined net short position of the Western banking system in silver is estimated to be 4.4 billion ounces. Now, billions and trillions often get lost in the noise, so let's contextualize what 4.4 billion ounces actually means. The entire planet Earth, every mine in Mexico, Peru, Poland, and Russia combined, digs up approximately 800 million ounces of silver per year. That is the hard cap. You cannot print more ore. You cannot speed up geology. 800 million ounces is all we have. Now do the math. 4.4 billion divided by 800 million is roughly 5.5. The banks have sold on paper 5.5 times the entire annual production of the human race. They are short 550% of the global supply. Think about the insanity of that position. The trap is sprung. In the stock market, if a fund is short 20%, it's a crowded trade. If they are short 100%, like GameStop, it's the mother of all short squeezes. But here in silver, they are short 550%. It is a level of leverage and recklessness that has no parallel in financial history. And here's the trap. They sold this silver years ago at $20 and $25, promising to deliver metal they do not have. They believed they could always crash the price to buy it back cheaper. But they didn't count on the liquidity pump coming from the East. Every single dollar that silver rises costs them $4.4 billion in mark-to-market losses. At the price targets we are seeing now, these losses aren't just painful, they are terminal. They are extinction-level events. The phantom vaults. The biggest problem isn't the money, it's the physicality. A short position is a promise to deliver. In the past, they could settle in cash with a check. But today, the counterparty is not a speculator. The counterparty is China. The counterparty is the solar industry. The counterparty is the Pentagon. These entities do not want cash. You cannot build a solar panel with a check. You cannot build a missile with a wire transfer. They demand the physical bar. And when they stand for delivery on 4.4 billion ounces, and the vault only has 300 million ounces inside, the system breaks. It hits a brick wall at 1,000 stars. This is the margin call from hell. It forces the banks into the open market to become buyers of the very metal they spent 20 years suppressing. They will be bidding against a vacuum. They will bid 85, no sellers. They will bid 90, no sellers. The paper illusion is shattering. The banks are trapped in a hole that no amount of financial engineering can fill. But why is the supply failing so fast? And why can't the miners just dig more to save the banks? In part 2, we go inside the mines to look at the supply cliff. We look at why the geological reality of 2026 has become the bank's ultimate nightmare. The window to act is closing. The target is locked. Stay physical, stay sovereign. The inelasticity trap. Bankers think the world is a factory. They believe that if the price of silver hits $100 tomorrow, miners will simply turn a dial and produce more metal to save the system. They treat silver like an iPhone. If demand goes up, just run an extra shift at the assembly line. But a mine is not a factory. You cannot just turn up the earth. If silver hits $100 tonight, do you know how much extra silver will hit the market next week? 0. It takes 10 years to find, permit, and operationalize a new silver mine. 10 years. If we started building new mines today, which we aren't, that metal wouldn't arrive until 2036. For the next decade, we are stuck with the supply we have, and the supply we have is in a death spiral. The geological reality. In their own surrender report, Bank of America quietly admitted a terrifying statistic. Global silver mine production is expected to fall by 2% this year. While demand is exploding by 20%, supply is contracting. In the world of commodities, this isn't just a deficit, it's a famine. Why is it collapsing? Because of the easy silver fallacy. For a century, we have picked the low-hanging fruit, the high-grade silver near the surface. Now we are digging deeper, processing more rock, and burning more energy just to get the same ounce of metal. Grade degradation is a physical law that no central bank can repeal. In 2005, you might get 15 ounces of silver per ton of rock. Today, you're lucky to get 4. You have to mine 3 times as much earth to stay in the same place. The energy stranglehold. Mining requires diesel, it requires electricity, it requires massive equipment. As energy costs skyrocket, the cost to pull that silver out of the ground explodes. Bank of America knows that at $70 an ounce, many mines were barely breaking even. They know that to incentivize production and keep the industrial economy from grinding to a halt, the price must rise to $300. There's no other way to balance the ledger, the byproduct nightmare. But here's the most dangerous part of the geological nightmare. 70% of silver is not even mined on its own. It is a byproduct of mining for lead, zinc, and copper. This means the silver supply is a hostage to the global economy. If we enter a global recession and the demand for industrial base metals drops, miners will shut down those lead and zinc mines. And when those mines close, the silver supply doesn't just slow down, it disappears. We are approaching a moment where the world needs more silver for solar panels and missiles than ever before. But the very mines that provide it are shutting down because of the economic collapse. The hole is real. The hole is deep, and the hole is getting wider every second. Bank of America surrendered because they realized there is no cavalry coming over the hill. There is no flood of new supply to bail out their 4.4 billion ounce short position. They have realized they are short a metal that is becoming harder to find than gold. So they did the only rational thing. They stopped fighting geology and started riding the rocket. But while the West is staring at empty vaults and collapsing mines, they are ignoring the dragon in the East. Because while the paper markets are breaking in New York, a $48 trillion liquidity bomb has just detonated in Beijing. We look at the Eastern Tsunami. We look at how China is weaponizing capital to drain every physical ounce left on the planet. The vacuum is real? The liquidity bomb? While the Western media is distracted by interest rate fractions and unemployment decimals, Beijing has just initiated the single largest monetary event in human history. We are not talking about a stimulus package or an infrastructure bill. We are talking about a liquidity injection so massive that it distorts the very fabric of the global economy. Reports confirm that China has expanded its M2 money supply by a staggering 48 trillion yuan. To give you context, that is roughly double the entire M2 money supply of the United States. Imagine the inflation we saw in the US after printing 6 trillion during the pandemic. Now imagine a monetary bomb nearly 10 times that size detonating in the Asian market. Weaponized capital. But here is the critical difference that the West is ignoring. When the US prints money, it goes into Nvidia, Apple, and financial derivatives to prop up the banks. The Chinese aren't doing that. They are printing that money with a singular strategic purpose: to convert worthless paper currency into hard assets before the system collapses. They are executing the largest wealth transfer in history. They are taking newly printed yuan and deploying them like weaponized capital into the global commodity markets. They are essentially saying to the world, we will give you this paper we printed out of thin air, and you will give us your physical metal that took billions of years to form. And the West, in its stupidity, is taking the deal. The gravity well. China has become a gravity well for precious metals. This huge injection of liquidity means there is now an unlimited bid in the East. They don't care if the price is $85 or $95. They don't care about the price in yuan because they can print infinite yuan. They care about the ounces. They know that whoever ends up with the most ounces when the music stops is the one who writes the rules of the new monetary order. So they are sweeping the shelves. They are draining the London vaults, the Swiss refineries, and the COMEX. They are turning the yuan into a resource-backed currency in real time, while the dollar remains backed by nothing but debt and F-35 fighter jets. Ding, the nuclear gunfight. Bank of America saw this 48 trillion M2 number and realized that no amount of paper shorting in New York can stop a buying spree of this magnitude. If JP Morgan sells 1 billion ounces of paper to suppress the price, China will just print enough yuan to buy every physical ounce those contracts represent. The shorts are bringing a knife to a nuclear gunfight. The spot price on your screen is determined by Western trading hours, but the physical flow is determined by Eastern buying power. And right now, the East has 48 trillion reasons why they are going to win this tug of war. China is not trading for profit. They are trading for survival. They are exiting the burning building first, and they are taking all the valuables with them. This creates a collision course. On one side, you have the unstoppable force of Chinese demand. On the other, the immovable object of Western bank manipulation. But the immovable object is hollow. It is built on lies, leverage, and empty vaults. The banks are trapped in the $80 price zone, desperately trying to trick you into giving up your metal before the real move begins. In our final part, the $80 trap, we expose the fake price on your monitor and give you the marching orders to survive the melt-up. The window is almost shut. Stay physical. Stay sovereign. The psychological threshold. Listen to me very carefully. We are entering the most dangerous phase of the squeeze. The psychological trap. Right now, the price on your screen is flirting with $80. To the average person, this looks like a moonshot. To the person who bought at $20, it looks like a life-changing profit. And that is exactly what the banks are banking on. They are dangling $80 in front of you like a carrot, hoping you will hit that sell button. They need your physical metal to cover their 4.4 billion ounce hole, and they are trying to buy it from you at a discount. $80 is not the destination, it is the bait. If you sell at $80, you're bailing out Bank of America. You're giving a life vest to a drowning shark. The decoupling. What you see on your monitor, the COMEX spot price, is a ghost. It is a digital hallucination. While the screen says $80, try going to a local dealer and buying a 1,000-ounce bar. You'll find that the physical premium is skyrocketing. We are seeing a total decoupling. In a melt-up, the paper price becomes irrelevant because there is no metal behind it. We are moving into the unobtainium phase. This is the period where you won't ask, what is the price? You will ask, is there any left? And the answer from every vault in the West will be a resounding no. The paper price might say $85, but the get it now price will be $150. Do not trade your sovereign wealth for their dying paper promises. The new bank. History is shifting. In a hyperinflationary liquidity bomb, the person holding the paper gets wiped out, and the person holding the metal becomes the new bank. China's 48 trillion yuan move isn't just about silver, it's about the end of the US dollar's monopoly. When the dust settles, silver won't just be an industrial metal. It will be the collateral for a new world order. Bank of America Aufstiegs's target of 4,500 gold and triple-digit silver is their way of admitting that the game is over. They are front-running the collapse of the very system they built. The go order. This is my final instruction to the resistance. This is the go order. If you have metal, hold it with a grip of iron. I don't care if the screen says $90, $100, or $120. We are waiting for the total capitulation of the shorts. If you don't have metal, find it. Clear the shelves. Buy the junk silver, buy the scrap, buy the premiums. Every ounce you take off the market is a brick removed from the wall of their digital prison. The window is closing. The geology has given you the guarantee. China has given you the catalyst. And the banks have given you their surrender. The universe is screaming at you to hold the line. Final verdict. We have won the argument. Now we must win the war. The Western Front has collapsed. The road to triple digits is wide open. Do not waver. Do not blink. This is the moment we prepared for. This is the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of mankind. The sovereign ledger is watching. The target is locked. Stay physical. Stay sovereign.